Again everyone, so Jessica, the Evangelinelily and I decided that we would do a collab video on our best reads of 2011, and this was a really difficult thing to do because I've read so many great books this year. So we thought we'd try and put them into categories in an attempt to narrow them down and focus them basically. And I've tried to do that. I've cheated for a couple of them because I have more than one answer, but I honestly couldn't narrow it down, and I thought instead of missing them off the list I would just put two answers for some of them. I'm sorry that Jessica has to edit this video because I suck at editing. My editing skills are zero, so she said that she would edit this, so thank you, Jess. So I'm hoping not to make this too long, so I will get on with it basically.
So the first category is Best Dystopian, and this was pretty hard for me because I do love dystopians. I do love post-apocalyptic type of books. So this was a little bit hard for me to narrow down, but I did narrow it down to one book. And I just read this, and I can't believe I waited this long to read it. I'm so disappointed in myself. And the winner is Divergent by Veronica Roth. This book was so amazing. It's exactly what you want out of a dystopian. You want a lot of world building. You want difficult choices that the main character has to make. Well, for me, you want kind of like a cute little romance going on the side. And I will tell you right now, the male romance lead in here, oh my gosh, I love him. He's amazing.
First one is the best dystopian book that I read in 2011. And that is Divergent by Veronica Roth, and the glare on this is horrible because it's a uber shiny cover. This was the first dystopian book that I've ever read, and I just fell head over heels in love with this book. It's really big, but I read it in a day. Its pacing was brilliant, the plot was amazing, and it got me into looking at dystopian books. And I've since read The Hunger Games, and as much as I've enjoyed them, I didn't love them as much as I love Divergent by Veronica Roth, so obviously that makes it my best dystopian read in 2011.
If you haven't read Divergent, go read it.
The next is the best angel book that I read in 2011, and that is Halo by Alexandra Adornetto. I really did enjoy this book. I haven't read loads of angel books this year, but this was the best one. It's still not my favourite angel book. My favourite angel book ever is Angel by L.A. Wesley, and it is my favourite book.
So my favorite angel book was Angel Burn by L.A. Weatherly, and if you have seen my review or you haven't, I'll link it over in this general area. I just gushed about this book, and Erin actually recommended this to me, so I seriously wanted to like kiss her because it was just so everything I wanted.
Best contemporary read of 2011, and this is a book I've just finished, and that's The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I had huge expectations of this book, and they were surpassed. I loved it so much. I haven't reviewed it yet, but I will, so look out for that. Love this 5 out of 5 book. It was brilliant. Next is the best adult book that I read this year, and there are two for this one because I couldn't pick between them. And the first is book 9 in Lara Adrian's Midnight Breed series, and that is Deeper Than Midnight. I was excited for this to be released, and I read it in a day as soon as I got it. I loved it. It's Hunter and Corinne's book, and it was just beautifully done. Loved it. And then I have Nalini Singh's Kiss of Snow, and anyone that's read these Walk in Sienna from book 1 basically, and everyone has wanted their story, and we finally got it, and it didn't disappoint. It was brilliant.
Adult fiction fantasy book, which is something I also just read. I can't believe, like, it's just amazing. I loved it. Was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. This book, if you like fantasy books and you want something that you have to like really pay attention to the little details with, read this book. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. I can't wait to read it again. I don't want to read it right away because I kind of want to give myself like some time, but I'm definitely going to read it again very shortly. It was just really awesome, and I'm a huge fan of fantasy books, and this definitely is at the top of best fantasy book I've ever read.
It's the best retelling that I read in 2011, and I've read a few retellings this year, but the best out of all of them was Jane by April Lindner, and I really enjoyed this book. I took my time with it because I'm such a big Jane Eyre fan. I wanted to really absorb this book, and I had a few issues with it, but nothing that really marred my enjoyment of the book. And I appreciate what Lindner has actually tried to do in that she has made Jane Eyre relatable. Like, some people in my age group won't pick up a historical novel like that because they think, oh, why on earth do I want to read that? They're not like me, I won't understand what's going on. Whereas she's really transferred it well to the current age, and I really enjoyed it for that reason.
Another category is Best Werewolf, and this one is pretty easy for me because I did love this book, and I read it at the beginning of I believe I read it in January of this year. So that book is Nightshade by Andrea Creamer, and I have read the second one, and I can't wait for the third one, which comes out, I believe, just like next week. So, yay! And this cover is beautiful. I'm kind of sad that they changed the covers, but that's not what we're talking about. This was a really great werewolf book, definitely worth it, and I just really enjoyed it. So you guys should give this a try if you haven't already.
Wrathsqueen is the best vampire book that I read in 2011. I haven't read loads of vampire books this year, so this was quite difficult. I have a YA and an adult answer. The best adult vampire book I read was obviously Deeper Than Midnight. I loved this. And then YA wise, I started reading the Morganville Vampires, and I've really been enjoying them. The vampires that are running the town are bad, so vampires are back to being these, badass vampires and not like some tortured Byronic hero, which I really enjoy, and I am actually liking the series, and I will definitely be carrying it on into 2012.
The next category is Best Cover, and Best Cover for me was a little difficult, but I had to pick one that was definitely released in 2011, and that one is The Space Between by Brenna Uvanoff. And if you, I just want to say something, it may look just normal to you on camera, but in person it's just 10 times more beautiful than you can imagine. I just love the intricate detail, and it's raised, and just like the inside with the little like stone flowers. I just love it. It's so beautiful, and I love the red and the silver. So this is definitely my favorite cover of the year.
Of 2011, and this was extremely difficult because more and more beautiful covers are being released all the time, and so it's hard to choose between them. But I chose two for this one, and they're my sort of favourite covers of this year for different reasons. The first, if you've seen my review on it, you'll know, is Hourglass by Myra McIntyre, and even though it's not wholly relevant, I mean, that is how I sort of pictured Emerson. She said to have this like blonde hair and everything. I just find the cover is very simple, and yes, it's a she said to have this like blonde hair and everything. I just find the cover is very simple, and yes, it's a girl in a dress, but the dress is simple. It's nothing that draws the eye like a lot of YA covers have these girls in dresses, and then the girl doesn't wear a dress in the book. Whereas in this, the girl actually does wear a dress at some point in the book, which is always good. But I like how it looks like she's walking towards a door, but then you flip it and you see that she's actually on the wall, walking towards the floor. And it's so simple, but I just love that about it. It's brilliantly done. And my next favourite cover is Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. And I like it because that's how I pictured Anna, it's how I pictured the house, it's creepy, it basically epitomises the whole of the book, and I love it for that. It's relevant, the cover suits this book down to the ground, and that's why it's one of my favourite covers of this year. Best historicals I read in 2011 were the River of Time series by Lisa T. Berggren. these are way up there with my favourite books. They were brilliant and I just loved them. I read them so quickly and I basically devoured these books. And anyone that doesn't normally read historicals should give them a try because these are like the best ever, let alone with 2011.
Mythology was The Goddess Test by Amy Carter. This was such a quick book and I've been looking forward to the second one ever since I read this in the summer. Just really awesome. I just loved it.
All round awesome book. And that for me is Kiss Me, I'm Irish by Bella Street. I fell in love with this book. It's a mix of loads and loads of different things. Paranormal romance, it's got like contemporary in there, it's humorous, it's romantic, everything that I love in a book rolled into one. And Bella Street's writing style is just amazing. She's hilarious and yet you really feel for these characters as well. So if you haven't checked out Bella Street, you definitely should. She's one of my favourites now. I love this book so much.
So now we're going to do the two final categories, which is Best Series and Best Read of 2011. For me, the best series, hands down, no competition, was the River of Time series. Just really great. I loved it. I cannot wait for the fourth one, which is Tributary, I believe. I don't know how I'm going to be able to like survive without having that book right now, but definitely give these a try, guys. They're just amazing. I love them. Just I don't know what else I could say that will convince you to read them, but really try these out.
The next question is also the best series, and again it's this. I love this. I devoured this series so quickly and I cannot wait for Tributary that comes out next year. It's going to be an excruciating wait. The question is best read, basically, of 2011, and this was hard to do. I basically sat and thought, what book has really stayed with me? I've read it, put it down and have been thinking about it. What book has really stayed with me? I've read it, put it down and have been thinking about it, and still thinking about it months later, and in the end, I came to the standout conclusion that my best read of 2011 was Nevermore by Kelly Cray. I freaking loved this book. I liked the mix of Edgar Allan Poe and sort of paranormal supernatural. I liked that the sort of love interest Baron was sardonic, witty, and some goth boy that is basically sarcastic, and that even though Isabel is a cheerleader, basically, she's not this typical blonde bimbo, and that even though she doesn't maybe pick up a book all the time, and even though the end of this book was a killer cliffhanger that basically broke my heart, I am dying to get my hands on the next one. So I thought, for those reasons, this is my best book of 2011. I was completely captivated by this book, and it was different, and I feel like I'm in pain while waiting for the second book, In Shadowed. So yeah, that's why.
Last but not least is Best Read of 2011. And my favorite read, hands down, other than the River of Time series, because if I had to pick between this book and those, I don't know what I would do. But for Best Read of 2011, is Angel Burn by L.A. Weatherly. I love this book. If you are looking for something different, you want something like paranormal-esque, or you just want a really good book, check this book out. Seriously, I'm so happy I was able to read this, and I can't wait that the next one comes out in the US and Canada in January. That was my, so this was our collab video of Best of 2011, and it was really a great book year, and I can't wait for next year. And I'm so happy that I met Erin. She's just a really wonderful person, a great friend, and definitely someone you want to get book recommendations from because she knows her books.
But those were my best reads of 2011, and I hope you enjoyed Jess's reads of 2011 as well. And I will see you guys in 2012 for another great book year.